My name is Cabo, and I took my skin from this to this, and then from this to this. So I would say I've pretty much beaten active acne. I still have some scars, and my journey with acne isn't completely over. But over time, I think I gained a decent understanding of what causes acne and how to deal with acne. And one of the biggest reasons I see causing acne is nutrition. And I think nutrition is at least 50% of your acne. It's mostly sleep, nutrition, and some other stuff. And today I'm going to make a tier list about which foods are so-called acne safe foods and which foods are probably either causing acne or making acne worse. Let's start off with red meat. Okay, contrary to popular belief, red meat does not cause acne. I'd even say it does the opposite because it contains so many nutrients and vitamins that you need that it actually nourishes your body, so your body ends up creating less acne. So red meat, like mainstream media would have you believe that it causes acne, but actually I can say from experience, I was carnivore for a while and I have not had issues with red meat. I have never seen a carnivore get acne from being carnivore. And also in my social circle, I've never seen someone who eats a lot of meat have acne. And so, yeah, that's a fake myth. Red meat does not cause acne. Now, what does cause acne, however, is sugary treats such as chocolate, candies, you get it. That's an acne guarantee. Sugar is one of the worst things you can do for your skin, especially if you're prone to acne. Even if you're not prone to acne, sugar will cause you some acne, which is crazy. So yeah, sugar is obviously an acne guarantee and goes into the lowest tier of this list. Now, next up, we got eggs. Eggs are also a bit controversial because the mainstream media will also have you believe that eggs can cause acne, and that is partly true because it depends on a bunch of stuff. The egg yolk itself is not a problem. The egg white is what causes acne, and it also depends on the amount of eggs you have. For example, I usually have anything from 1 to 4 eggs a day, and that's completely fine. But if you eat like 8 to 10 eggs like a bodybuilder, you will probably run into some issues with acne. It won't be super bad, but it's still not optimal, especially if you eat a lot of them, because you're not really supposed to eat a lot of eggs. Don't get me wrong, eggs are extremely healthy and one of the healthiest foods on planet Earth. They contain almost every vitamin and mineral that the human body needs, but almost all of that is in the egg yolk. The egg white actually has defense mechanisms which can cause acne flare-ups. And you don't need to worry about this stuff if you're just eating a few eggs a day like me. But if you're eating 8 to 10 eggs, then that may be a problem. Maybe try throwing out the whites or using them for something else. I don't know, like I've seen people use egg whites as face mask. But anyways, that's not the point of the video. Let's continue with white rice. And white rice I will put into the caution tier because white rice is pretty high on the glycemic index. In case you don't know what the glycemic index is, it's basically how much does a food spike your blood sugar. And if you get a high blood sugar, if it's spiked a lot suddenly, your body will be more inflamed and produce more acne. So with rice, you have to be cautious because it does precisely that. It has a lot of carbs, and even though I think technically it's a slow digesting carb, but your blood sugar spike will still be there no matter how slow it is. Maybe you can slow it down with fiber, but that's just unnecessary problems in my opinion. So rice, you have to be cautious with it. You don't have to cut it out completely because otherwise I would have to put you on the carnivore diet, and I know that a lot of people don't want to do this or don't even have the money to do this. So I will put white rice in caution. Try to watch the amount that you eat, and unfortunately I'm gonna have to tell you that however much rice you think is okay is probably too much. Like you shouldn't have maybe like a small cup with a meal, then have a piece of fruit or two after that so you can use the fiber to digest it better. If you really want to have rice, obviously cutting it out would be easier, but you can have some white rice occasionally. Next up, I briefly mentioned it, so we're gonna skip right ahead to fruits. And fruits are obviously known to be very healthy, packed with vitamins, antioxidants, blah blah blah. But the problem is I just ranked this like cheap sugar treats as an acne guarantee, and fruit does contain sugar whether you like it or not. And I personally eat fruit. I really like fruit. It's one of the best tasting food groups, honestly, because humans just like sweet stuff, and fruits they want to be eaten. That's why they are sweet. But I would still exercise caution with fruits. You can also put them in, depends on the amount of fruits you have. I'll actually put them here because they're not as bad as rice. If you have an apple a day, that's fine. If you have an apple and a banana, that's also fine. But if you're having like full on, and my family used to do this, which is super sweet by the way. They used to sometimes bring me and my siblings like a plate of fruits, which is like apple, banana, orange, dates. And remember, you're only supposed, according to international guidelines, eat 50 grams of sugar molecules a day, not just 50 grams of white sugar or anything, 50 grams of sugar molecules a day. And remember, rice contains sugar, potatoes contain sugar, fruit contains sugar, sugar contains sugar. And if you eat like 2 or 3 bananas, you're already way over the international limit. And I think the international limit is bullshit anyways, and you shouldn't really have a lot of sugar outside of summer because that's seasonally where your body is most adapted to eat sugar, which obviously comes natural because fruits need sun to grow. So with fruits, it really depends on the amount. If you eat like 2 to 3 dates or a banana or something a day, you will be completely fine. But if you eat upwards to like 30 up to 50 grams of sugar, even if that sugar comes from fruit, you will most likely run into issues. Next up, let's have their unwanted, unliked cousin, vegetables. Now, if you Google it, vegetables cause no acne at all, but I personally have had a lot of experience with vegetables causing me acne. So I will put them either in depends on the amount or in caution, because they do contain oxalates, and oxalates are not good for the body, and this could lead to inflammation and you having more acne. It also really depends on what vegetable you eat though. For example, a carrot will be way better than broccoli. So I will put it in depends on amount because it's still better than rice in my opinion, but you really have to watch out which vegetables you eat and how much of them you eat. Okay, so next up we have honey, which again, it depends on the amount because it's pretty much the same as with the sugars in fruits. It is a natural version of sugar and it isn't as bad as white sugar or something like that. But still, I wouldn't eat more than a teaspoon or two a day because it still contains so much sugar. But honey in general is really good. And actually, you can make really good face masks with honey. Maybe don't do them in the summer because the flies will be very attracted to you. But honey, yeah, it depends on the amount. It is sort of sweet. You could also put it in caution. But if you eat a tablespoon, not a tablespoon, if you eat a teaspoon a day, you will be fine, I believe. Dairy, like any form of normal store-bought dairy. And this is an acne guarantee for most people. Some people, it will be most likely, but we know dairy causes acne, unfortunately. If you just get plain normal dairy from the store, you're almost guaranteed to get more acne. Not for everyone. For some people it would be a most likely, but I feel like dairy, putting this into acne guarantee is pretty fair. Especially, like, if you don't believe me, try eating just the way you're eating right now, but cutting out the dairy. You will see a huge change actually in your acne. Next up we have raw dairy, which means raw milk, raw butter, raw cheese. This actually I will put into the caution category. Because for me, raw milk still causes some acne, but it's a lot better than when it's pasteurized. Because what happens is when you don't pasteurize the milk, it retains all the bacteria and enzymes and all that sciencey stuff. But what it also retains is something called lactase. And just simply put, lactase allows your body to digest lactose properly, which means you will get less inflammation and acne. I would still be cautious with this because at the end of the day, it's still dairy. It still contains casein protein, which just in nature can be really inflammatory. So yeah, raw dairy products, caution, and don't eat or drink too much of it. But you can have some raw dairy. It is way better. But even for some people, you won't be able to tolerate raw dairy because some people are just not made to tolerate dairy. So this one can depend, honestly, between these three. But the most people, I would put it into the caution tier. Next up, we have whey protein. Again, for me, this is an acne guarantee because it comes from dairy and it is basically dairy. And it also has a bunch of sweeteners and unnatural stuff. It's often also contaminated with heavy metals and such, so I have to put it in acne guarantee. If you get really good quality whey, it's probably a most likely or caution, but most of normal whey is an acne guarantee and is just horrible for your skin. Next up, we have potatoes, and potatoes go into the same category as rice in my opinion, because it's also a carb, quite high on the glycemic index. We already went over that. So yeah, I would put potatoes into caution. Next up, we got beef liver. This is another S tier acne safe food. It gives you so much nourishment. You can't get acne from liver. Like, there's nothing in there that could possibly give you acne. It has only good stuff, and yeah. It also contains vitamin A, fun fact, tretinoin, which is the best way to deal with acne, either in like a topical form or isotretinoin, as also known as Accutane. It is derived from vitamin A, which is in raw beef liver. You don't have to eat it raw. It's better if you eat it raw, actually, so it retains all the vitamins. But yeah, beef liver is an S tier food for acne. Next up, we have fried foods, and come on, I don't gotta tell you, this is an acne guarantee. Seed oils, they oxidize quickly, and listen, I'm skipping over this, you know it. Don't eat deep fried food. Next up, we have white bread, normal white bread. And I think this is most likely gonna cause acne for a lot of you, because usually store-bought bread, it also contains seed oils. It's high on the glycemic index, just like rice and potatoes, most likely causing acne. Next up, we have sourdough bread, and sourdough is still pretty high on the glycemic index, so it's going right next to rice, potato, and dairy, raw dairy. And sourdough, the problem is, at the end of the day, it's still carbs and it's still high on the glycemic index, even if it is usually better than normal bread and doesn't contain seed oils. You still gotta be cautious with it, or maybe watch the amount. And the last point, oatmeal, and I'm essentially repeating myself, but the same thing goes for oatmeal, honestly. Like, red meat and beef liver are completely safe. You won't get acne no matter how much you eat. Eggs may be limited to 1 to 4 eggs depending on weight and gender. Fruits, have like 2 fruits a day. That will be completely okay. You can have like a few vegetables if you like. Honey, a tablespoon is fine, I guess, but watch out. Maybe don't have like 3 fruits and a tablespoon of honey. Have a small amount of white rice, small amount of potatoes, bread, oatmeal, and potentially dairy. Even raw dairy can be problematic for some people. You just gotta try it. Avoid processed bread and avoid treats, whey protein, fried foods, and store-bought dairy at all costs. Yeah, this is the acne tier list. This is the acne foods tier list. I'm gonna pump out more videos to acne and how I fixed my acne. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Goodbye.